Welcome back to 4 Geeks by Geeks, the place where geeks come to geek out. And finally, we're doing another Monday night Geek Out sesh, you guys. Holy shit. This has been, I think it's been about a month. I think the last Geek Out sesh that we were able to do was with crap. I just had it. Now I can't remember. That's embarrassing. I hope they're not watching. Sorry. I know it was you, Morgan, but I can't remember. That's just doing great service for my guest tonight, who's now like, wow, I'm going to come on the show, and then he's going to forget me as soon as he leaves my face. No, don't go anywhere. Please, Matt, stay. But all of you, thank you for hanging out tonight. This is a 4 Geeks by Geeks Monday Night Geek Out sesh. If this is your first time, we do this every Monday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard, right here live on Twitch. And then if you miss it, you can always go back and catch it on YouTube or podcasts. And so for those watching back or listening, thank you so much. Give us a review. Let us know in the comments below how you are enjoying it. And of course, go show all kinds of love to our guest tonight, who you're going to meet in just a few minutes. But I got some big announcements for tonight. But in the meantime, I want to know the question of the day, which is, what's a geekdom that should be turned into a TTRPG? Is it an anime? Is it a video game? Is it a movie? What should that be? What can we play as role playing? But we got some good peeps with us tonight. I can't speak. It's been apparently too long. Bozer, is your connection okay? Oh God, I hope so. I'm even hardwired tonight. Get a haircut, hippie. Honestly, Friday it's happening because this mess is too long. That's why I put the hood up. Ben's here with us tonight. Oh, nice. Making some ravioli for the little one. Leftovers for me. Nothing fancy. Sometimes leftovers are just hitting the spot after work. Who else is here? Shout out if you're here. And of course, we got 20 Side Pod. We're all for the hood up. Yeah. He's not only waiting in the wings, he's also hanging in the chat. Ben says the last time was when you guys designed a gaming space with the people who were bringing games to cons. That's the last one I caught. Oh, yeah. That was Syracuse Gamers. You're right. I was thinking it was something else. I forgot that was between. I thought they were before. Yeah, that was cool. That was fun. Have you guys all gone back and followed Syracuse Gamers or started your own gaming community? You should. I want to join one or create one. But it's a big week for us here at 4 Geeks by Geeks because for the first time in a month, we're going to have 3 streams. That's right, 3 streams. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're hitting that normal schedule all again because we got tonight, Monday Night Geek Out sesh. First of many. Got some great guests down the pipeline as well as a great one tonight. T is back on Wednesdays. As always, he's going to be doing some streaming. He's been doing some really cool stuff with Birds Suck. If you're not familiar with Birds Suck, go follow them on Instagram. They're actually the great artists that created this year's winning community t-shirt. And you can go buy one in the merch store. It's an amazing tarot card that he drew of T and I, me as a tiefling, him as a wizard. And it's amazing. And some proceeds go back to the artist, so go support artists. But also speaking of Birds Suck, he is going to be one of the new faces of a brand new TTRPG campaign that I myself am GMing for the first time ever. Never done it before. That's a lie. I've done a one shot, but never a full campaign that I'm home brewing myself. I'm watching my connection eat shit on Twitch right now. So for those sticking around, you're the true blues. Thank you. But I'm so excited, you guys. We are starting a brand new TTRPG campaign using the Fate Core system. If you're not familiar, then tune in every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. It's an amazingly new story, and it's not just amazing because I made it. It's amazing because of the energy that these players are coming at it with. And we got a fun little not a meet and greet, but a promotion video that T thought of. We're going to be doing that later this week so you can see their faces some more and get a glimpse of who their characters are in this campaign. I'm hearing this connection is so bad, and I do not know why. I'm so sorry. Literally, I'm hardwired. I don't know what's going on. Sorry nobody's voted for your shirt, Alec. But we are 7 episodes recorded. Yes, they are recorded. If you have a problem with that, I get you. I hear you. It just works out best for us. So we are 7 episodes in, and I'm so stoked for this. But they're going to be releasing every Thursday. And even though the episodes themselves are not happening live, we will be there in the chat the most that we can every Thursday at the same time so that we can watch it back with you and we can interact with you and maybe give some insight to our players' decisions or the lore into the world that I'm literally creating as I'm building it. And I'm just super excited. So please come back on Thursday, if you will. Watch that kickoff, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard. We've got me as GM. T is playing a really cool character. It's a character he said he's been playing for a very long time. We've got Lucas is back playing Lucas. Not really, but kind of. Some brand new faces like Britt from Let's Get Rollin'. We know and love Britt. She's been here on the Geek Out Sesh. We've done some collab streams with her. We got Austin from Bird Suck. He's the artist. He's bringing some amazing energy to an older, wiser, hardcore, gritty character. And then a brand new face to all of you, Josh from Dairy Public Radio, which is a bi-monthly podcast about Stephen King novels. They do some readings. They talk subject matter, and they even get some people that were connected to the books or the films, and they have them on and talk to them. It's really cool. Check them out. But you're gonna want to go watch and listen back to his podcast just for him, because he is an improv god and bringing such great energy, as is everybody. So can you tell I'm excited? I'm excited. So let me catch up on this chat. Oh, hey, we stream on Mondays. Who would have thunk? Shush! I've been busy, and it's bad. Good luck DMing. Thank you, Broadbent. Like 3 frames per second. Well, at least you can't see how bad I'm failing. Cantina 13's here. My connection was weird when I streamed this morning too, but this is pretty rough. Well, now I don't know what to do. What's up, Miss Stunk? Mysteries Unknown? You'll be lurking tonight. Thanks, Alec. Doing an Avatar TTRPG. Is that why you're leaving? Or is that the answer to the question of the day, which is what fandom do you want to see TTRPG? You'll look better when you're further away. Okay, thank you. I can only hope this gets better. Literally nothing's changed in my setup day to day. I'm even improving some things. So I don't know. But we're going to call it the weather, and we're going to push through, and hopefully it gets better. Let's see. If I were to do a TTRPG, one really cool thing, it would limit the number of players you can have at your table. But I would love a Ninja Turtles TTRPG. You'd all be playing basically monks. But just to really lean into like the turtle aspects. I'm also a huge Ninja Turtle fan, so of course that. But I know you didn't come just to hear my answer, and I'm wanting to hear yours. Is your wall blue or is that the lighting? That's both. It's blue and the lighting. What you really want to know and who you really want to get to know is our guest tonight. And we were talking before the stream, and in those few minutes that we were kind of connecting, I already know we're going to be lifelong friends. The connection between is so great. Hopefully it's better than my connection on Twitch. And we're going to learn all about his podcast that he and his players are putting together and the amazing energy behind it. And I'm just going to pick his brain because I've got a big day coming with Thursdays as my first time as a GM. And he's a great GM. And I'm going to use all the opportunity to glean all the wisdom I can. So please, y'all, give it up. Drop some emojis. Let me hear it for Matt from 20 Sides Podcast.
That was the best I think I've ever been given. Did we just become best friends?
Yeah. I thought we became best friends 10 minutes ago.
I mean, I was right now, but yeah, definitely 10 minutes ago as well. I'll take that too.
You already got some fans in the chat here, Matt.
Oh, I
Mysteries
appreciate
Unknown said Matt is an awesome DM, and 20 Side Show is awesome.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
I almost believe that through Mysteries Unknown is how we first got connected.
It may be.
We were trying to figure out the tie between us, And I think it's Mysteries Unknown.
I think you're right.
Look at you, Mysteries.
Making connections.
Brabant, to the question of the day, says, I know there's a board game, but I want to do Stormlight Archives TTRPG. The Knights Radiant are amazing. I am not familiar. Have you heard of that, Matt?
I have not. It sounds great. Great title.
Strong name.
Oh, it's 225
That name is worth
games. It was 225 games.
Oh!
Because he talked about us on your podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think you
I've got
guys
here.
asked him what is like the best podcast ever, and he said 20 sides.
Yeah. And then my dog ate his book, and
There you
yeah.
go. There you go. You know.
Shout out to 225. I used your book to create the show happening on Thursday, Cloudscape. That's
Hey,
even
there
the
you go.
title that I never said. I thought it was catchy.
That's pretty good. I like it.
Anyway, Matt, thanks for hanging out with me tonight.
Thanks for having me, sir.
A pleasure and an honor. How are you feeling tonight?
I am feeling fantastic. Pretty fantastic.
Just pretty fantastic.
Well, I got my favorite flannel on. Even though it's starting to
Rock
get warm outside, you got to have the favorite flannel.
Nobody told our basements because it's freaking cold down here all the time.
Oh no, it's usually hot in this room. Mainly
Oh, really?
because I'm in here, but whatever.
Honestly, I mean, if you weren't going to say it, I was.
Yeah. Somebody had to.
Thank you, Dictionary Boy. Gifting for the subs, Umbran Witch, excuse me. Dictionary Boy, thanks. High school buddy right there coming through. But before we launch into all the amazing hotness that is you and your podcast, riddle me this. If there was a geekdom or a universe that should be a TTRPG, what would it be?
You said your answer earlier was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Sure did.
When you sent me this question earlier, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, as soon as I saw it within 5 seconds, I thought of an 80s cartoon, and it was Thundercats.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah? Like,
Honestly,
you're going to try to kill Mumra? Let's do it.
Honestly, I like that answer better.
Pretty
Because
good,
as soon as I said, not that both aren't correct.
Right.
I just found it immediately. I limited myself when I said Ninja Turtles because there's
gotta
a
be
number
a
of
monk.
players.
But I feel like you
And
could
yeah,
be
you
like
gotta be certain
maybe you're
things.
April and she could be some type of wizard, or you could be oh god, what was his name? Casey Jones. But I guess
Yeah,
he's very
Hockey
monk
Sticks.
like too.
Yeah, he's got some fighter in him. For
Maybe
sure.
some artificer type in there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Or do you remember Street Sharks?
No, not at all.
That was a little more 90s.
I don't know if I've ever heard of Street Sharks.
Street Sharks.
Okay,
Chat, do you remember Street Sharks?
First off, just the premise. I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess, okay, that it's just dudes that are sharks walking around on the streets.
Yes.
That's so
Honestly,
bad.
they were like four frat guys, like football athletes in college.
Oh, it's
and
so bad.
They
Can
went
you
to visit
imagine
their dad.
Do you ever think, like, as people are sitting around tables, like thinking about these ideas to come up with this stuff, and somebody eventually, like, somebody threw that out there. Somebody was like, hey, listen, I've got this idea. Street Sharks. And people were like, no. And he was like, okay, hear me out. Hear me out, though. They're walking around the streets, but they're sharks. It's like, no, we're not doing that. And it still got made.
I'm about to rock your memory. Do you remember this?
Man. No.
Anybody?
Not at all.
Oh my god, I loved it.
How did I not see this?
They had like pants.
The 90s.
Um,
When did it originally released? 96? So I would have been 12 at that time. Or 13. That was my Tupac phase.
Maybe you were too
think I
cool.
was
You're too
listening
cool
to
to watch these.
Probably.
But
Being
somebody
13,
Biker Mice
Cultural.
from Mars. Do you remember that
Oh,
one?
I do remember Biker Mike. Yes, I remember
I
that.
love that show.
Yeah. I remember
yes,
that.
Rob Ben, I remember that show.
I was like huge into He-Man, Thundercats. God, there was one other one that I was just like in love with. But
yeah, Extreme Dinosaurs. Fuck yeah.
I don't remember this either. I
Miss
may have
Dunk
just
says,
been
"Do you
too old.
remember?" Yeah.
Like I mean,
This might have been like Saturday morning cartoons that you weren't watching at that time.
that it probably was. Like I was
you
probably
moved
like
on.
13 or 14 when this came out.
Yeah, I was like 7 or 8.
So did you ever watch the Thundercats that came out in like the early 2000s or maybe like the mid 2000s? And Matt Mercer was one of the characters in it. Believe it
No
or not.
way. Now I want to
Matt
go
Mercer
watch it just
from
Matt
Critical
Mercer.
Role fame.
Oh,
And it was
like this
It
one.
was yes, it was dude, it's so good. It is so good.
So good.
Yeah.
Okay. Done. Sold. Twist my arm.
And yeah, by the way, your connection looks fantastic now.
Oh, it does? All of a sudden?
Yeah, you look amazing.
So all we needed was Thundercats.
We needed to say the word thunder, thunder, Thundercats. Ho! Sorry. I apologize.
Don't you dare apologize.
Oh, that'd be so good, man. So much fun.
See, it's just we needed the party to show up. Everyone's here now.
There
We
you
were
go.
just lagging along enough for
Mhm,
everyone to get
mhm.
here, and now the party's here. We can begin.
Yep.
So, y'all, while you're falling in love with Matt as quickly as I am, go ahead and use that 20 sides command, and it'll take you straight to their Instagram, and you can
Mhm.
follow. There's a link tree. You can listen, because we're going to be talking all about it, and you're going to think, where can I find this? Command 20 sides right there. So let's just get into it, Mr. Matt. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do as a geek.
Okay, I am Matt, if you don't know that yet, people, and I am the dungeon master for everybody has one now, a live action 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons play. And it releases every Monday to the world on any podcast site that you use. Literally any
Wow.
and all. And
What do you
YouTube.
use to disperse them?
That is a great question that I don't know the answer to. That's a Philip question. If Philip's still in the chat, he can tell you. Yeah, Philip's still in the chat, so he can tell you.
Literally all of them. Is
Yes,
Philip the one
Buzzsprout.
running your Twitch account right now?
Yes, he is. Buzzsprout.
Buzzsprout. Never
what
heard
we
of
use.
Buzzsprout.
We use Buzzsprout, but we are up to episode 36 or 37 now. And
Good for you.
so like 15 more will be a full year for us, and we have not missed a week.
Whoa. Hold up.
Yeah.
Now I know you're full of shit.
No,
Now
go
I
back and
know.
look. Go back and look, bro. Look at Spotify. Look at the receipts.
We just need a...
Thank you. Oh, Sandino. Oh, excuse me. I'll just get a few of them. Yeah, we're also
Wow. That's
we're about
impressive.
6 weeks ahead, really 7 weeks ahead. We're edited up to episode 44, and we're about to play again on Wednesday, which will
Shit.
probably get another 4 or 5 episodes out of that. So that will probably put us around the 50 mark.
Oh my God. This whole episode is about to just become about how do you logistically do these things?
I'll tell you. I can tell you
That's my
the
question.
biggest secret. Are you ready for the biggest secret in the podcasting industry?
We're giving it away right at the
We're
start?
gonna, at the start, and get your pencil ready. Get your get your notepad. Okay, perfect. Oh no, dude. Are we best friends? Is that a big?
It's the same pencil.
Oh, dude. Oh, we just became best friends again.
It is the same. Literally the
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. We're the same person. We're the same.
Same.
person. Okay, so here's the trick. Our podcasts are not like an hour and a half long. They're not 2 hours long. Okay? Our podcasts are like 35 to 40 minutes. And that's it. And so when we play, we will record about 4 to 5 hours worth. when we play. And so out of that, we can get 5, 6, 7 episodes, and we play once a month. And so we don't get burnt out trying to play every single week. We don't fall behind because no human being, much less 5 human beings, can set a schedule for once a week and be able to hold to that. And then no human being that has a full-time job, like every single one of us do that work on the podcast, can edit a full episode in every single week. You can't do that. It's just too much. And
so much, yeah.
And so we cut them down to about 35, 40 minutes. We did a ton. We call it market research. It wasn't market research at all. Like we did a bunch of Twitter polls and Reddit polls before we ever launched. And we said, we said, what is the amount of length of an episode that you want? Like, what's the ideal for a podcast? And every single answer we got was between 45 and 60 minutes, or between 30 and 45 minutes. No one wanted over an hour because so many people now have so much content in their lives that it's tough to fit something else in there. And so we said, okay, can we get a decent D&D episode out of 35 to 40 minutes and maybe 30 minutes, depending on the episode? And we recorded our first session 3 different times to make sure it was what we wanted us to be like. Because the first time we recorded, we were like, you know what? We can be better than that. We took notes. We said, all right, what did you do that wasn't good? What did I do that wasn't good? Let's fix it. Then we recorded it again, and we did the same thing. We were like, I don't know if that's it. And then we recorded it the 3rd time. Now, as a DM, I changed like what happened each time so that they weren't playing through the same scenario.
That was my question. I'm like, did you just rinse, repeat, and like
no.
ripped it by the 3rd time?
And so once we got to that, and then I started editing, and we edit out a ton of stuff, like any rules looking up, any banter that happens, like before. You know how a lot of shows will start, and the D&D play doesn't start until like 15 minutes into the episode.
No. I wouldn't know anything about that. No. We get right to business here. No bullshit. No.
So that's like, we take that doesn't exist. Like, it is the intro music, and then it's immediately us playing, and we take out a ton of that banner. So like, you get the meat of what would be a normal hour and a half long D&D episode, and all that junk gets cut out of it, so that you get a better product from a listener's perspective, if that makes sense.
Sure. Okay. So can I push you on that a little bit? Because
of course,
that's an interesting perspective. That's like the story, like it even says in your bio, it is a fast-paced, story-driven actual play podcast.
Yeah.
So for you are literally putting the story on the forefront, and everything else cuts the fat.
Yeah, so like, I mean, combat still like D&D combat still happens. So if there's a
combat, takes 12 hours.
Yeah. So that episode, it's literally 24 episodes, and then you get one piece. No, so like,
right,
like a normal combat, once you cut down all the like adding up the dice, or so like you'll hear the roll, like the actual roll that happened at the table, and then they'll say 24 damage. But I cut out all the 6 plus 6 plus 7 plus. Wait, I get 3 for this. We cut out a lot of the kind of the strategy talk between like, hey, what are we going to do? How are we getting into this dungeon? I may cut out a bunch of that and just get to where the characters are talking in game about how to get into the dungeon. And so,
right,
like listening to it is just we trim the fat. Like we trim what we kind of get bored of when we listen to other D&D podcasts or tabletop RPG podcasts. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Like, it has its space. But like, even like a Critical Role, you could cut out probably an hour and a half of every episode, and you would miss nothing of the story. Now, you may miss a little bit of the players being the players. Like, you may miss Travis being Travis and Sam being Sam, but you're not going to miss out on what's happening in the story. And so we try our best to keep the focus on the story of the game, because that's kind of the product we want to deliver.
So do you feel like people are able to get to know you and the players through your podcast when you cut those things out, or are you finding that they're getting to know you in alternate ways?
Yeah, I think the latter. I think especially like through Instagram, is where we'll put a lot of like us and us talking, or podcasts like this, or we do a YouTube show called 20 Sides Weekly where Philip and I just talk and banter about D&D and act silly and stupid the whole time like we're doing right now. And so we'll do a lot of that there where they can get to know us as players more. There are still bits and pieces of that in the podcast, but it's definitely on the back side. It's definitely not at the forefront of kind of the product we're trying to push, which we've heard a lot of people and a lot of DMs have reached out to us and have said, God, I really wish that we would have done shorter episodes as well, because you're able to keep up where we're not. We have to skip a week here. We got to skip a week there.
Yeah.
And when they skip a week,
exactly what happens for us.
their listenership drops like 20, 30, 40, 50%, just because people forget about you. Like if we skipped a couple weeks, people would forget about us. We're no different. And so we wanted to make sure that even if it's a 30-minute episode, even if it's 35 minutes, you're getting that every single Monday when you log into your Spotify, unless Spotify screws it up like it did 2 weeks ago.
What happened?
I don't
Was
know.
it like all over or just for you?
No, it was all over. Like a lot of people were having trouble with Spotify, and like some people reached out to us and they were like, "Where's the episode?" And we were like, "We swear to God, it's there. It's supposed to be uploaded." You know, it was.
Joke's on you, Spotify. We haven't uploaded a podcast in 2 weeks. Can't touch us.
But we're number 10 in France right now. We're ranked number 10 in France on the Apple charts. Yeah. Number 10 in games. At least it was. Philip, correct me if I'm wrong.
Come on.
Philip,
come on.
France, taking it all the way. We're gonna walk. We're walking to France.
Oh my God! Congratulations!
Thank you. I don't know what I don't know what all that means. I don't know how.
Is it because all of your episodes are in French?
Yeah, that's why.
That might have something to do with it. That's interesting. Now it makes me want to talk with T. But okay, before I get into the questions I'm going, just real quick, give us like, if you can, if someone was like, what's 20 Sides? Why should I listen to that story as opposed to any other story? Besides the fact that it's so digestible. Yeah. Give us a little breakdown of the story going on.
So I'll say two things. One, our players are really, really good. Like so many podcasts we listen to, the characters don't feel distinct from one another. And so many times I'll listen to a podcast and be like, wait, is that the person that was just talking, or is that a new person? Is that like everybody kind of sounds the same? We have 2 females, 2 males that are players. One uses like a Russian accent. One uses, he sounds a lot like, his name's Seven, but he sounds a lot like, I was going to say Tobey Maguire, but it's not Tobey Maguire. Who's the new Spider-Man? What's his name?
Tom Holland.
Yes, he sounds a lot. Holland. He sounds a lot like him. And then we've got a female character who is very like emo-ish, and then a female character who is a lot like the daughter from Schitt's Creek, the show. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Like she's kind of ditzy. Yeah, Alexis. Yeah, and she's like, oh yeah. So they're all very distinct characters, and they're nothing alike. And I think that is one huge thing that sets us apart. And they stay in character the entire freaking game. And that's one thing we talked a ton about before we started, is like, if you are listening to a podcast, if you're like, we are putting out content. We're not just playing a D&D game anymore. If we were just playing a D&D game, do whatever the heck you want. It doesn't matter. Nobody else is listening. But we're putting out content. So people want to hear your characters and how your characters would act. So when you're talking about infiltrating an orc fortress, you're going to talk it out through character. And the barbarian may say something stupid because he's not that smart. And the princess may ask about her pillow and why it's not clean. Like, we want to make sure we stay in character. So I think that sets us apart. And then, so the story, honestly, Philip like really loves the world that we've built. It's a homebrew world. but it's not anything crazy. Like I can't sit here and tell you it's a steampunk meets this vibe. It's not that. Like think of Lord of the Rings and that's the vibe. Like it's your basic run of the mill fantasy, but it's what I love. Like it's my favorite thing. And so I didn't want to try to create something that I'm not. And so I created a very just normal high fantasy game where like there's an Underdark. We don't call it the Underdark. We call it the Deep Hallows. There's an Abyss. We don't call it the Abyss. We call it the Primal Void. And then we have just the overworld, the material plane. And, you know, we've got all the things that a normal D&D game would have. And so if you are interested, like if you're new to D&D or like you love just traditional fantasy settings, 100% will be up your alley. And there's a lich that is kind of the big bad evil guy. His name's Thormir, and he he was originally a storm giant who died or didn't die. Blip blip. He achieved lichdom, and so like I took a little inspiration from Mumra of Thundercats.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, I know what I love about all that I'm hearing is that with your podcast, you didn't try to recreate the wheel. You didn't try to be this next best anything. You said, we're going to do what we want to do, and we're just going to do it as well as we can.
Yeah. Yeah. And our audio is really freaking good. I'm like, I'll blow smoke on that for myself. Our audio is really, really good. Like everybody's got a quality microphone going into a quality preamp, and we use this room, which is decked out in acoustic panels. We've already talked about that earlier before the stream started. And so like you're going to hear a really good quality audio where, again, a lot of D&D podcasts, you may listen to it and then, you know, you're like, I can't really hear it. So you turn up your speakers and then all of a sudden somebody screams and your whole face burns to the ground because it's so loud. So
speaking of turn up the sound, sorry. Thank you, Jester Knight, for the raid. How's it going? Where'd you just come from? We're hanging out with 20 Sides podcast, basically making me want to scrap my whole campaign because we're doing everything differently. I'm like, oh, cool. So we're just doomed to fail. Neat.
Yeah, no. So yeah, so like we have
and
really good audio.
In person, right? You're meeting in person.
Yeah, 100%. We tried to play online, and it's not for us. It's not like this for everybody, but for us, it's not the same vibe. Like we've done it, I think maybe once. Philip, correct me if I'm wrong. We've done it once in the past 5-6 years, and just we were like, no.
And I think I would say it's a safe statement that playing a part is always going to be a different vibe.
Yeah.
You're just not going to be able to contain the same energy that you can when you're around the table. Right. When you're playing through Zoom or we play actually through this platform that I'm using now.
Yeah.
So it makes it easy. It makes it accessible. It makes it something that we can easily do week to week. But yeah, you miss a lot.
Yeah, like just the laughing, like at the table, just seeing people's eyes and being able. I mean, you're a theater guy, so like like playing off of each other is such a big part of the improv of Dungeons and Dragons, and being able to like look at each other and just laugh without saying anything makes a huge difference in the vibe of the game, like just the feel of the game that even comes through in a podcast.
Yeah, like right now I'm making direct eye contact with you.
Yeah.
But it looks like I'm not even paying attention.
It looks like I'm looking that direction, and I'm not. I'm not looking right at you.
That's why I have to look at you, chat. This is direct
yeah,
eye
me
contact.
too. Big eyes.
You. Not a big hole in the wall where there's a camera.
Yeah.
No, I'm thrilled for you. Like honestly.
Thank you.
This is what D&D podcast, I think, especially at the level that we're at, right? Like we don't have celebrities.
No.
We like Critical Role. We want to hear all the banter because they're fucking famous. They're like actors and voice actors that we fell in love with and have been listening to for our whole lives. We want to hear every little stupid thing they want to say.
Yeah.
People apparently don't want to hear every little stupid thought that comes out of our mouths.
Right?
Weird.
They don't even get it. But no, and that's like another, like we were like, we should make it to where you can consume it going to work and you're done. Or you can consume it coming home from work and you're done. Like you don't have to spend 4 hours. I mean, there's so many podcasts. They're like, oh, we're 2 hours long. And I'm like, you're never going to be able to keep up. Like I hate it for you, but you just, if it was your only job, kill it.
Yeah.
Kill 2 hours a day. Who cares? But it's not for any of us.
And that's what ours is. We kind of keep it around at 2 hours, but you're going to sacrifice something. Like
For sure.
We're not going to be able to spend all the time on the audio. We're not going to be able to edit every little moment that we want.
Right.
Because it's too long.
Yeah.
And that's not to give all of you reason not to watch our two podcast campaigns on Thursday, but that's a big thing for me is I know sustainability and I don't want to get myself or my players burnt out on anything.
Yeah.
And I've got people helping like on the crew, but I'm like, we can only do so much. And I'm not only going to ask so much of any of us because this is supposed to be fun. And if it's too much work, it's just not going to be fun anymore. Yeah.
And it's hard for like, is it Brabant in the comments just said he or she, I don't know. I'm sorry. That's why they've fallen behind on Critical Role. That's why I've fallen behind on Critical Role. I cannot spend 4 hours a week just watching a D&D podcast when a lot of it is just their banter. Like I know them now, so I don't need to keep listening to all the stuff in between and whatnot. So, and I know a lot of people love them to death, and I still love them to death. I think they're fantastic at what they do. Yes. Is that Molly?
They're on my wall. That is.
I can't tell because it's blurry.
Campaign 2.
Oh, I see it now. Oh, yes. That's the one of all their faces, right?
If I move out of the way, yeah,
move your big head
like a D20.
Yeah,
I wish I had a big head.
But yeah,
it's
so
tiny.
like we wanted to make sure, and so it's so hard for people, especially if you're a new podcast, and I've got to convince you, who has no clue who I am, who has no clue if it's good or not, who has and is already listening to probably 4 or 5 other D&D podcasts. I've got to convince you to now spend 2 hours every week listening to my podcast.
What have I done?
Well, see, Matt, here's the best part.
Where were you last year?
You pre-recorded it, right?
Yeah.
Chop that bad boy up after an hour.
Okay, so here's my question that I put a pin in. I was meant to get back to right now.
Yeah.
I'm all about keeping things organic and just letting things flow. And I don't want to cater it to, like, even sometimes the 2 hour mark, I'm like, but we haven't gotten to a satisfying conclusion in this moment. So I don't want to just cut it off. How do you, as the GM, kind of, I don't know, maybe control is the wrong word, but make it so that there's a spot to cut off at 30 or 45 or an hour, wherever you do.
I don't do it at all. We just play. And then as I'm editing, once I get to about the 35-minute mark, I will find a spot to cut it off in the next 10, 15 minutes. So like some of our episodes are 48 minutes. Some of them are 41 minutes. Some of them are 35 minutes. Some of them are 32 minutes. It just depends on where there's a spot where I can go, okay, this makes sense. I'm going to chop it here. And it may be something as simple as, all right, you've searched this room. You killed 3 orcs here. Now you are going to the next room. And one of the players may say, hey, I want to listen at the door. And you say, okay, cool. Give me an investigation check. Boom. Episode done. And it doesn't have to be this like huge cliffhanger every single week. Now, it'd be great if it was, but that's just not the way the cookie crumbles. So like, I'll try to find something simple like that to where they, somebody may go, oh, what did they hear? I don't know. I'm coming back next week. But we just play as organic as possible. I'll have my bullet points listed out on my DM sheet like I normally do. And we'll hit all these things. And then when I find that spot, boom, we cut it off. We hit the outro music and the outro little, me talking over it. Thanks for listening to 20 Sides, blah, 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 blah. And thanks to Tabletop Audio for the music and blah, blah, blah. And check us on Instagram. That hits, and then we're done. And you know what else we've scrapped? Do you know what else we've scrapped that no one has complained about? So the first probably 30 episodes we did a recap at the beginning. my wife, who plays one of the characters, did a 30-second, it was not long, a 30-second, 3-sentence recap of what happened the episode before. And that took time because somebody had to, so we had to edit the episode. Then somebody had to go back and listen to the episode and write down the notes. And then I had to get my wife to come into this room and record that 30-second. Now, 30 seconds doesn't take long, but it's another step in the process of recording. And I said, you know what? What if we scrapped that? Just don't even have the recap in there. And I had a lot of people go, no, you got to do the recap. Everybody does a recap. And I was like, well, we're going to cut it out for a couple weeks and see if anybody says anything. We cut it out. No one said a word. You don't need a recap.
Because if you're watching, you're going to remember what happened before.
Yeah. And if you're going to start on episode 35, us telling you that Ordella and Seven snuck into an orc lair means nothing to you anyway.
Right.
So we scrapped it.
Interesting.
And no one has complained.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. No, you're giving me lots of ideas, actually. I need to call T right after we get done because I'm like, what if?
Now,
because our thing is we do it here live on Twitch first.
Yeah.
And we like having an audience where we can chat with live, and even though the show's pre-recorded, we like having that. But doesn't mean that YouTube and podcasts have to be 2 hours long.
Right.
That could be chopped.
Well, even on Twitch, you could chop it and then play it on Twitch for 45 minutes and sit there for 45 minutes.
It's such a short stream, though.
It is. But do people stay the whole stream?
No, I don't know. Probably not.
I don't. There's no right. That's the thing. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Like there's just.
I think there's wrong ways to do it. There's maybe not
fair.
one right way, but there are wrong ways.
That's fair. Yeah. It's not like we're the masters of the universe here. Critical Role would argue that a 4-hour stream is probably the best go-to because that's what they launched with.
Right. But like I said, they're famous. They can do things much differently.
And they were kind of one of the first.
Right. They pioneered it.
Yeah.
In a way. A lot of people, there was people before them, but it, like Brabant said, it might be the wrong way for you and your group. So
that's a good point.
There is a wrong way for you and your group. And, Miss Stunk is taking offense on our behalf. I listen to FGBG episodes no matter how long. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Because they're so entertaining.
Yeah, that's what we are. For the podcast, I just made a sarcastic face. You didn't see it because you're not here. I had a thought, and it was really, really important. Because it might be right or wrong for your group, but with what we're doing, we're not just playing for our group. Like so many people nowadays, they're not just getting around playing D&D for the fun of D&D. They're making it for content.
Yeah.
So we are doing a performance art in a way.
Yes.
And I love that you had that talk from the get-go with your players. Like, I want to stay in character. I want different voices. You got to keep it rolling.
Yeah. For us, like that's before we started, we sat down and we had a business meeting of like, if we're going to create a podcast, it's not for us, it's for the listeners. So like we, not only with our market research, I'll say that every time. It makes me happy. It makes me feel more important, that we did market research. But like we asked people, we also asked like, hey, when you listen to a podcast, do you want all combat? Do you want all role play? Do you want a mixture of it? What do you want? Do you want 70-30, 60-40, 50-50? Because when I listen to podcasts, if I'm just playing at a table and there's no cameras rolling, there's no audio being recorded, I love combat. It's like my favorite thing about Dungeons & Dragons since I was 9 years old. But when I'm listening back to podcasts, to me, the most boring part of podcasts is often the combat because it gets stale and repetitive. And so we asked people like, what do you want the most of? And people were like, we want like 60-40, 70-30 RP. And so we had to adjust a little bit the way we played at the table to make sure we were getting closer to hit that. And then the other thing is, like you were saying, like we role play a lot. Like we are in character a lot. It's not a lot of us just talking and then you can't tell, like, is that Yaros, Seven, Leona or Della, who is this? We don't know. Like our characters are very distinct from each other. We really, really, really try to make sure that it feels like you're almost listening to a book on tape, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Can I just ask for anybody thinking about it? Is anybody a professionally trained voice actor on your team, on your party?
No.
Okay.
But I honestly feel like I could be, but I'm definitely not. I'm not. No.
Okay, so
I make
then
a ton of voices. I've always made just like a ton of voices in my life. It helps.
So then the follow-up question to that is, these aren't trained professionals. So what does that conversation look like at your table with your players to not make anybody feel like they're doing a bad job, but to encourage, like, how do you frame that?
We're very honest with each other. Like Philip and I were always in bands together, and we were like brutally honest with each other. Like I was a guitar player, he was a guitar player. I played lead, he played rhythm. And if I played something that he didn't like, we would stop the song and he would go, "Hey, Matt." And I'd be like, "What's up?" And he'd go, "Hey, that part you just played?" And I'd be like, yeah. He'd be like, "That sucked. Don't do it again." And I'd be like, "Okay, all right, carry on with that." And then I'd do the same thing. "Hey, Philip, that strumming pattern, hey, can you not do it because you did it the last 4 songs? Can you pick something else, please? Can you maybe pick this or do something?" So like we've always been very, very honest with each other. And we told our players from the get-go, like, "Hey, we're going to be honest with everybody in this. And it's just to make us better. It's not to like ridicule anybody or bring anybody down. But like if something isn't great, we're going to let you know because we want this to be great." And so nobody really gets hard feelings. But at the same time, like there are so many like our players do a really good job at acting, even though none of us, my wife was in theater, nobody else in our group was in theater. But we all do I think they do a really good job of acting like their characters and you know, making them kind of come alive, as opposed to just, you'll listen to some podcast and you're like, "Oh, your acting that's tough. That's rough, bro. That's rough." And you may think that listening to ours because you're like a theater guy. You may be like, "Oh, that's bad, y'all. Y'all think y'all are good. That's really bad."
No, but I don't know. It's different in a podcast D&D kind of format because as long as it's real, and I realize it's improv, you're like living in this world. So I'm much better on stage than I am in an improv setting and in a D&D setting, I think, because it's just a different monster.
Yeah. So yeah.
No, you are dropping a ton of gold tonight, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What you in the chat or you in the comment section, what kind of gold are you picking up that you need to apply tomorrow to your table? One thing that I'm hearing is like you have that trust with you and your players. Have you guys been friends for a long time, or is this something kind of new?
No, we've been, so like me and Bobby, who plays Yarost, have been friends since we were 4 years old. Like we started playing D&D together when we were like 7 or 8. And I mean, clearly had no clue what we were doing when we were playing, but like that was like our thing from the time we were like 7, 8 years old. We played D&D, but we've been friends since we were like 4. We went to kindergarten together, and we've been best friends ever since. Me and Philip also have been best friends since, maybe like junior year of high school. So we've known each other for 20 something years. One of the other ones is my wife. And so, I mean, clearly
You're kind of close.
I mean, whatever. And then Tyler is the one that doesn't know us as well, but we started playing D&D during the pandemic with her. And she wasn't in the original episode. So she doesn't come in until episode 16 because we sent her the episodes before to be like, "Hey, will you listen to these? Like, we want some feedback to let us know, like, does this suck? Like, should we scrap it and start over? Like, what do you think?" Because that's another thing we did. We sent our episodes to like 10, 12 people that we trusted to give us honest feedback, including some DMs that we've met on Instagram and stuff like that, to be like, "Hey, give us honest feedback. If something isn't good, we need to know now so we can fix it, so we don't hear about it episode 40 and then people have to sit through it for 40 episodes. Like, we want to know ASAP so we can either scrap and do it again, or we can like just fix like little small things." And she was like, this is so good. And then she was like, I mean, I wouldn't mind like if y'all need an extra player at some point. And I was like, yeah, I mean, we'll think about it. And then she kept bugging me and my wife and was like, hey, I'd love to. And I was like, you know what? She was really good when we played during the pandemic. We played online. And I asked Philip and I was like, what do y'all think about it? And we were all kind of nervous because we had such good energy at the table together. And I'm sure you know how that is. Sometimes you add somebody else into the mix and like
you just don't know.
It sometimes goes bad. She got in and within probably 3 or 4 minutes, we were like, this is going to be gold. Like, this is perfect. And she has been fantastic. I mean, absolutely fantastic. We couldn't ask for a better fit. Like, she was our missing puzzle piece.
Yeah. Aw. Aw.
Oh,
I don't have an aw. I have a this. No aw. Now I'm going to be using you as market research. I'm going to be listening to your podcast and just stealing every idea.
do it. Take them all. Take all the ideas.
And that's the other thing that we were talking about prior to stream is how great not only this community is, but I'll speak for you, how great you guys have been for other content creators and other D&D podcasters that have hit you up. And now you are becoming not only a source of entertainment, but an educational point for somebody that want to do what you're doing.
Yeah. We've had multiple people, and I'll give Philip a shout out for this because like he does all of our social media, he does all of our graphic stuff, he does all of our social media stuff.
Nice.
You may see my face, but it's just because I record a video and send it to him. But Philip does all of that.
Really well done, Philip. Like professional. Just scrolling your feed, I'm like, damn, this is a clean feed.
Yeah, he knows, the guy knows what he's doing. But yeah, so like we've had tons of people hop in our DMs and be like, hey, like, how do you make your graphics? Like, what do you use for your videos? Where do you get this stuff? And Philip is all about helping people and saying, yeah, go hop onto this site, or I use Adobe Premiere for this. And Philip's done this as long as I've known him. Like he is really good at, he's got a great artistic mind when it comes to like digital art. He's a terrible at drawing. He's not good. And he was going to learn how to draw for about 3 weeks. And I'm pretty sure he stopped doing it. I'm pretty sure I can confirm that in the comments here in a minute. But he's just got a really, really good eye. And he always has for digital art. He did. Yeah, there it is. I can't draw to save my life. But he's always done, like, when we would be in bands together, he would do like band posters for us and show posters and stuff like that. And he's just got a great eye for it. And so, yeah, so people will reach out to
campaign, us. Yeah, every group needs that.
Yeah, and he'll reach out to us, or people will reach out to us all the time asking about audio. I've actually linked up with a few DMs that have other podcasts to kind of go through audio stuff for them, because Philip and I both went to school for audio production. And so like they're just asking questions.
Okay. You're burying the lead. How do you guys do so well? Well, you have a professional graphic designer on your team. You have 2 professional audio production on your team, and you have a theater girl on your team. You just stack the fucking deck. That's how you win.
And I minored in photography in college.
Okay.
But yeah, so like but like the people I helped on, we hopped on Discord, on their Discord server, and they were like, how do I get my audio to sound better? What do I do? And I walk them through, like, how do you EQ a vocal take? How do you compress a vocal take? How do you DS a vocal take? How do you do all these things for audio to make, how do you compress the overall master track? Like, we did that, and they were just, it was so much fun to me to watch their eyes light up. It was like light bulb moments for them. And then on top of it all, on top of every bit of it, Philip and his wife own a podcast management company. If that means anything.
If that, I don't know if is that relevant?
Is that even relevant? Is that important at all? I don't know if that's important. So yeah.
There's your team, or this is the Patreon only campaign.
Yeah. So
the other side.
So Tyler on the right with the black hair, and then Philip has the beard there. That's me looking all ugly. And Philip's wife in the bottom left, that is Caitlin. She's in the Patreon only
Good name,
campaign.
strong name.
My wife is in the main campaign. She's going to hop into the Patreon campaign later on. And then Bobby, who plays Yaros, is actually going to DM our Patreon campaign. So I get to play a character.
Philip, has anyone ever told your wife Caitlin she looks like Laura Bailey?
Oh, wow, yeah.
Kinda does.
A little bit.
But so this is your Patreon only.
Indeed.
Tell us a little bit about your Patreon and why everybody should rush and join it right now.
Okay, so you'll get a Patreon only campaign. Obviously, we just talked about that. You'll get 2 episodes a month of the Patreon only campaign. You will get, depending on the tier, we're gonna have 2 tiers. You'll get to be Instagram close friends with us, so you'll see a whole lot more behind the scenes stuff than we'll show the rest of the world. We will in the second tier, you're going to get a live Q&A with us. So we'll do like a presentation mode similar to this. And
Okay.
we'll just let people throw out questions until the sun comes home. We'll do that once a month. I said till the sun comes home. Lord help
Till
me.
the sun comes home.
Till the cows come home. I'm trying to think of what else. I can't remember what else is in there. Philip, help me out. What else is in there? But it hasn't launched yet. It will launch May 15th. So
Mark your calendars, y'all.
So next week, right? That's next week.
Yes.
We should probably get on that. Oh no.
See, and that's something else that T and I and their team have been playing around with. Is like, maybe do we start a Patreon, and what kind of things do we even offer?
Yeah. Oh, and the
This whole
original
separate conversation.
or the main campaign, you'll get a week early.
Ooh.
So that'll be on the beginner tier. I say beginner tier. That'll be on the $5 tier. But yeah,
That's
so
how organized you guys are.
We talked a lot about the Patreon too. Like, we did not want to launch it too early because we were like, if we launch it too early, then there will be like one person on it, and it'll be like my mom. And so at that point, you're doing a whole nother campaign. You're editing all these other episodes for
Your
nothing.
mom.
Yeah, for my mom. So yep. So, yeah.
I love that how much thought you guys have put behind everything. You don't just rush in and be like, let's fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
We'll find out first, and then we fuck around.
Yeah. No, it's super fun. Like, because I mean, Philip and I had been in bands since college together, and so like the whole idea of like promoting something and then putting an album together and then recording it and then releasing it and then playing shows to promote it, to try to sell it, and then, trying to link up with other people. Like, it feels a lot like that, but it's not competitive. And we talked about this before stream too, like how everybody helps each other out instead of being just uber competitive. So we're from Nashville, and like a thing in Nashville is, if you go to somebody's show and you're in a band, you're not going to their show, you're going to promote your own band. And that's
right.
But that's not how this feels at all. And so we've been super excited. Like, as we've worked through it and kind of pushed it, we've gotten a lot of good feedback on everything we've done. So, and eventually we'll have merch one day and all that kind of stuff, but not too soon.
Not too soon, which is that's again a nugget of wisdom, because all good things take time, right?
Yeah.
And if it was easy, it wouldn't be worth it. And if it's worth it because it's not easy.
Yeah.
And I can sense such a great head on the shoulders of 20 sides, whether that's amalgamation of yours and Philip's and your wife's and Caitlin's. And I really do appreciate having that mindset, because so many people see it and think, oh, that's easy, they just play D&D. They don't see how many hours of thought and market research should go into it.
Yes. It's so much work. Like, it really is like a part-time job. Like, it legit is a part-time job. And if you're not putting those hours into it, you're not going to get anything out of it. And somebody asked us maybe like 6 months ago, they were like, hey, we got 2 mics. Like, should we start a podcast? And we were like, no, don't do it. You have to wait. Like, save up some money and buy a few more microphones because you don't want to launch and it be trash. Because if you do, you're done. You can't. What is the old saying? Like, you don't get a. Yeah. You can't come back from it. You don't get a second time to make a first impression. Like that old saying. Like, and that's so true because once people see it, they go, no. And another thing we did is like, before we launched, we had our Instagram for 5 or 6 months. Like we pushed so that when we launched, it wasn't 3 people that were listening to it. We had decent numbers when we first launched because we had built it up so much, and we were kind of scared. Philip and I were texting like the day before the launch. We were like, did we build it up too much? Like, is this going to be bad? And people are going to be like, what the heck is this? Thank God they weren't. Or at least I don't think they didn't say it out loud if they thought it. But like, that's another thing we did. We try to give, and again, what we were just talking about, we try to give a lot of time. Like we want to promote the heck out of something almost to the point of like, okay, stop promoting it now. Like you need to launch it. Almost like a video game, how they'll be like, it's launching in 2024. And then they're like, but it's really going to come out late 2024. And they're like, all right, it's delayed until 2025. Like that's kind of how we do stuff. Because we've been talking about a Patreon since before Christmas.
Which really isn't that long. Like we've toyed around with the idea of a Patreon for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Done it. But we never talked seriously about it like you probably have since Christmas.
Yeah, and we've talked about it like on Instagram, saying like teasing, like, oh, we got a Patreon coming, and people are like, when? But when though? So, and we're like, finally, it's May 15th. Get off our backs, people.
See, unlike us, where we push something off just because we made an empty promise and we haven't been able to fulfill it yet, you put things off because you're actually working on it and you're delivering when you say you will. So
I don't know about that. There's a lot of us. There's a lot of us texting going, oh God, I'm exhausted right now. Oh man, because we all have kids.
It's exhausting.
And stuff like that. So yeah,
it's a part-time job that doesn't pay anything, at least to start. It's just out of the passion project and it's for the fun.
Yeah,
but that's like for real talk. If I can right now, Matt, that's I'm like always on this crux where I realize that none of us are making money on this right now, and so I can only ask so much of my people and myself.
Yep.
Unlike you, my wife is not as involved in this side of things. She's 100% supportive. She's just not. It's not her world, and she doesn't want it to be, and that's totally fine. So, like, there's that balance that you don't want to take away from your loved ones and your other friends, but you want to give it the due diligence without overburning or burning out you and your players.
It's tough, man. It's
I with that every day. I really do.
I agree, man. It's a fine line of being like Philip and I. Yeah, he just said you're speaking so much truth right now. Philip did, because that's one thing we've talked about at the beginning. Like, are we asking too much? Because Philip and I are both like cut from the same cloth. We will do something, and we're gonna do it to 100. Like that's that level. We're gonna give everything we do. And it's going to be, we're going to try to do it better than everybody else. It's not a competition, but like, I'm going to make sure our audio is the same as Glass Cannon and better than Critical Role because they're a video. Like we're an audio podcast. It's going to be the best in the industry. Yeah. And our graphic design stuff, Philip will send it to me and I'll be like, nah, I don't like it. I don't like it. And then we'll change something. Like we're going to make sure everything we do is to that top level. And not everybody is like that. And so we always have to ask each other, like, we can't ask too much of everybody else in the group simply because like they're not us. And that's not a knock on them because they do a ton and they are so good at what they do. But like I live to do this type of stuff. Like this is my favorite thing to do in the world is to edit the podcast and to plan out sessions and to mess around with sound effects or voice changers or to talk to Philip about graphic design or when we're going to launch the Patreon or how we're going to launch it or what, all that stuff is what I live for. That's not everybody in the group, but everybody in the group, they still give. They still give to the group in their own way and the way they can. And so we always have to be like, hey, we can't keep badgering them to do something. Like we'll do it. It'll be fine. And we like doing it. So just make sure we're not pushing too much. That
takes a hell of a lot of like self-reflection and knowing who you are, because that's not easy. There's plenty of
No.
people that are like, why aren't they willing to push as hard as I am? Like, I'm
Yeah.
working hard. They're not doing as much, but you just have that great recognition that you work a certain way, you think, and live a certain way. Others don't.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make them less valuable. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 people, this is ringing true. Go see it if you haven't already. I saw it last night, and this is just like hitting me in the feels.
Yeah,
Everybody
that's
has
true.
worth versus their special talents.
That's
Everybody's
so true.
different.
It's like we're all in an MMO and everybody shares their role. I may be the tank and Philip may be the healer, but everybody else has got to be a DPS.
Yeah. Damn. And here I thought, oh god, another D&D episode. Let's talk to who is it? Matt from 20 Sides? Okay.
Oh, look at my wife. My wife's in here now. I bet Matt and Philip have Wonder Women for wives. I mean, they have to put up with us. So, like, just to put up with me on a normal basis and how much I sing in the household she's a saint. You know.
I mean, yeah. Really, I know she won't listen to this, so I can say this, but I do not deserve her. She is every bit 10 times more of a human being that I deserve.
Hilarious.
Wow, Matt, I'm kind of at a loss for words. Like, this was some hard truths, but some really, like, you've given me some great ideas, but you've made them tangible and accessible. And like, normally I gas people up and like, oh wow, that's such a great idea. Everyone go love them. I'm like literally thinking about changing some things that I'm doing in my life based on this conversation, or at least for our channel. And
But
I don't normally do that.
again, there's no right way to do it. There are
No, of course not.
you can point to so many different successful.
There are more effective ways.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. We just looked at it as like we want to be able to keep up, and we want to be able to do it for the long haul because we always talk about it's a marathon, it's not a sprint.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're going to have ebbs and flows in your social media reach. You're going to have ebbs and flows in the number of downloads you have every month. Like, that's going to happen. But if you can see an upward trajectory through it all, then you're good. But you can't do that if you get burnt out. You can't do that if you're spending, all of your waking moments working on 20 sides. Like, you've got to have time to go to your son's baseball game. You got to have time to go outside and play catch with your son. You've got to have time to annoy your wife. To the point where she says, "Hey, can you leave the living room for right now?" Like, you've got to have all that so that you so you have the creative energy to work on your craft, and then your craft is better because you aren't spending too much time on it.
I'm just letting that sit. I'm just letting it sit.
Just give it its air. Just give it a chance to breathe.
I hope all of you at home heard that, because that doesn't just apply to D&D podcasts, y'all.
That's true.
And we have so many creators that tune in, be it cosplayers, authors, writers, photographers. That's the crux of it. And in this day and age where content creation is becoming the next go-to job, everybody wants to be a content creator.
Yep.
But there's so many misconceptions about what that really looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And what you just said is hands down the biggest reason why I know you guys will succeed.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I really mean that. Those creators that get what you just said, get that truth that you need to have balance and get space for your creativity. Those are the ones that go for the long haul.
Yeah.
Damn it, Matt.
You can grind all day, every day, but eventually you will burn out. You will burn out. You'll burn out. And then there's nothing left to give.
You can't pour from an empty glass.
Where's Sarah McLachlan when you need her?
I know. Can you tell I grew up in a church? All these
same
homilies. Yeah. I didn't do it. I fucking knew it. I almost said it earlier and I was like, no, I don't know if that's true. No, I knew it. Could tell.
Done.
You guys, okay. We got to put a pin in this conversation.
Yes.
because we could talk all night, and we might off camera.
Yeah.
But you know, I gotta leave room for my creativity, so I need to know when to call
In
it.
the arms
you
of the angel.
But for real, if you're listening back on podcast, comment what you are picking up, what you're going to put into action tomorrow. I'll join you in the comments there. In the chat, let us know. And then hit that command, 20 sides, and go follow the shit out of all they're doing, because we're getting in at the ground floor. This is going to be the next big thing, and we're going to be OG fans, baby.
Oh, dude, we're gonna start a D&D cult, dude. We're gonna get a commune, and all the D&D podcasters are gonna live on it.
That's T's dream for real.
Hey, that'd
He
be
wants
awesome,
a brick
wouldn't
and
it?
mortar space where a bunch of people come and create content in like a 4 Geeks by Geeks.
Oh, that would be
brownstone.
so sick, dude. Can I start a coffee shop in it?
Yes, it's got to have a coffee shop.
Done.
But then he's going to comment later. Bozer said it's a bad idea. He always has. He's always against me. So when it happens, he's going to throw me into the bus.
Yes. Philip said matching tracksuits and all.
Yeah. But I prepared a little bit of a game that as a palate cleanser, if you will, at the end
I'm
of
excited for this.
not a heavy conversation, but a necessary conversation. You want to play a game?
Yes. I'm elated.
All right, chat. Do you want to play a game? Because I got a game that we can all play, and I have a very creative name for it. It's called D&D Items, Real or Fake. That's it. That's all I got.
It's beautiful.
So I have scoured the internet, and by scoured I mean lightly grazed, to find the wildest D&D items that I could find. Also, I went on Reddit, which is always a good sign, and found some homebrew items that some brilliant DMs have created. And it's up to you to decide whether it's real D&D compendium or fake, meaning a homebrew, something somebody made up, not officially D&D. I'm sure later somebody's going to call me on this, like, no, that's not real, or what are you talking about? That is too in the compendium. But we call that engagement. We're here for it. All right, you ready to play?
I was born ready. Let's do it.
Okay, item number 1. If I can. Armor bath. This is if you take a bath in this tub, it covers you in invisible armor, but only on body parts that are completely immersed in the water. You are completely impervious to ordinary weapons, and your AC is significantly boosted against magic weapons.
No.
You can never take off this armor, and you lose feeling and flexibility in your affected bathing areas.
Oh, and I have one question about the game.
Yes.
Is this specific to D&D 5th edition, or can it be any D&D edition?
Any D&D edition.
Oh, jeez.
Miss Dunk says fake.
I'm
Feels
gonna
like a
say
homebrew, so
I'm gonna
draw
say
that.
fake, and the reason I'm gonna say fake is there's no specifics to how high your armor class is boosted.
Or maybe I just took those away because that would
Oh.
make it too obvious.
Mm.
Who knows? Or I copied and pasted it from the internet. Also, who knows? I see a lot of fake, reek.
Right.
Philip's cheating.
Oh, that's cheating.
It is real.
Oh my gosh.
It's
What is
real.
it
I believe
from? It's got to be like
an
first
early-
edition. Yeah.
It's an early edition. It's not 5e for sure.
Well done, man.
It even went on to say that if you submerge more than 50% of your body in the tub, you die instantly.
That is total like first edition crap, where it was like, if you eat like you go to a banquet, and if you eat the roast pig, you die. And you're like,
You just die.
you're just dead. There's no save, there's nothing, you're just dead.
Broadbent says you cannot take it off with sus.
That is sus.
But
Very sus.
That was the wild west of D&D. They're like, I don't know, try it, see if it works.
Oh, dude, look up the Castle Amber from, I think it's Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and there is a banquet hall, and every
Ooh.
course that's brought out is like a different effect on you, and it's like your strength goes
God.
up 4 points, and you're like, what? Like, how? Like, what are we doing? That D&D for like Advanced D&D was wild. Sorry.
All right, next item. Ring of Attunement, which Keynote doesn't recognize attunement as a word, no matter how many times I try to spell it. This magic ring grants the wearer an additional attunement slot. It requires attunement. Real or fake?
Does the attunement ring? It requires attunement to offer an additional attunement slot, so it doesn't really do anything.
Sure it
That's
does. It
fake.
gives you an
That's gotta be
additional
fake.
attunement slot.
That's got to be fake.
Miss Dunk says real. 20 Sides Jess says real. Real useless, but real.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, this is dumb as hell. It's gotta be real.
Yeah, because like if it requires attunement, then you just gain the attunement slot you just used back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going fake.
You know what?
Unless it's in like Xanathar's guide as like one of those like common joke magic items, but I'm still gonna say fake. Oh god, I know I'm wrong.
Okay.
But I'm saying fake.
You know what? I'd say it's real in somebody's homebrew because it's fake.
Yes.
It is a homebrew. Somebody came up with it. That'd be funny.
Okay,
It's,
1 out of 2.
I don't believe you'll find it in an actual D&D compendium. But let me know in the comments how wrong I am.
They will.
Ooh, Miss Sunk 0 for 2. I thought for sure y'all would come in with like all this knowledge. You're like, oh, real, fake, fake, real, real, fake, fake.
Yeah, there's so many items, man. If we're going back editions.
Yeah, I didn't put any limits on myself. I didn't want to.
I love it. I love it.
All right, you are 1 for 1, Matt.
Yep.
1 and 1, I guess. Not 1 for 1.
Yeah, 1 for 2.
Egg of Distraction. When spun on its wide end, the egg enchants all who see it, momentarily distracting them. If distracted because you failed your save, you forget what you were about to say, including any spell you were about to cast. And you take a penalty on attack rolls and armor class because your eyes keep being drawn back to the spinning egg. Once distracted, you will always try to look at it until someone obstructs your view of the egg for a round. Real or fake? Ignatius says real. 20 Sides says real.
I'm gonna say fake again.
You say fake?
Yeah.
Stunk real. That absolutely sounds like a D&D item. Jess says probably
it does
real.
sound like an early D&D item for sure, but I'm gonna say fake.
It's just enough where they're like, how can we troll these players? Because we, as the game masters, game designers, need something more to do with their lives, and they did. It's real.
I'm so bad at this. So incredible.
All of these are things I want to add. Like, this was part of the fun research. I was like, oh, I want to make this.
What?
I'm going to take this and add it to the game.
What was that in? Egg of Distraction?
Something early on. It didn't always specify exactly which
Yeah.
edition it was in. Fake, but fun.
Fake, but
That's my name in
fun.
college. How'd you know? It was my nickname. All right, next. Razor of Close Shaving. This magical straight razor is a +1 blade, allowing the user to shave with a little chance of marring his or her face. The shave leaves your skin so kissably soft that you gain a +1 charisma bonus for the day when you groom yourself with this razor.
I'm gonna say real because the other two were so fake, or they felt so fake. So I'm gonna say real.
Or is this right when I put you on your flip it on you? Miss Dunk says real. Ignatius says real. John says, can you scramble the egg of distraction or can it be hard boiled?
Not if you're distracted by it. You can't.
No, you'll never get to point to.
Unless somebody walks in
Just
front of you.
fake.
I'm gonna
Fake
say
and
real.
a half. Hi, Austin. Austin, I was gushing about you earlier about our campaign that starts on Thursday. Except now we talked to Matt here from 20 Sides, so I'm changing everything. It's real or fake? It's real.
Oh, I got it.
Nice.
Let's go.
Tis real. There are some wild items out there, and I just applaud the game designers and the homebrewers, but
Yeah, that's
I'm
intense.
not that
right
creative.
there. The blade. I need that. The blade of close shaving.
Club of Healing, a magical club that grants 1d6 plus strength of damage, followed by 1d8 plus wisdom of healing.
No, that's fake. That's definitely fake. That's way too
What?
much healing.
After the 1d6 of damage.
Well,
So basically, you take the club,
I think maybe
whack
it was
them.
saying you hit them, but then you're healed. Unless they're saying you hit the person and they're healed after that, which is even dumber.
That's how I read it.
So I think either way, it's fake. That's gotta be.
John says the razor sounds like an Old Spice tie-in promotional item.
Oh, it does.
Yeah. This D&D item brought to you by Old Spice.
D&D
I have this.
D&D should make commercials and do them like those old Spice commercials. That'd be great.
Really should. Robin says I gave this to a player once, but I think it was fake. I can't remember.
The Club of Healing?
Club of Healing.
A club.
There's the Club of Healing, or I've also heard of a Rock of Healing doing essentially the same thing, and both were fake.
All right, I'm
Homebrew
coming
item.
back. Don't call it a comeback.
Woo, woo.
Let's go.
What are you at? 2-2 or 3-1?
3-2.
Is that your record? 3-2?
I think 3-2.
Miss Doug says, hasn't Wizards of the Coast taken enough? They take your healing too. All right, Ball of Bear Rings. A metal ball made out of interconnecting rings in the shape of tiny bears. When activated, the bears become detached and animated. The bears act like a swarm and can't form complex shapes, but they can retrieve objects and will growl in the direction of danger when activated. If even one bear is lost, the rest will look visibly distressed and will reform into a ball, creating replacement in 1d4 hours per bear.
My favorite part
or
about this is that they don't attack. They just... did it say they growl in the area of danger?
Yeah.
That
in
is
the direction
incredible.
of danger.
I'm going to say real just in the hopes that it's real.
Because you want a tiny ball of bear rings?
Yeah.
Can you imagine... oh shit, forgot her name. Love the podcast, Critical Role. She always had ball bearings. Campaign 2.
Oh, Marisha.
Beauregard.
Yeah.
So I got ball bearings, and she pulls out this.
You know what's hilarious is that everybody hated Keyleth. Like, hated Keyleth with a passion. And in the animated show, Keyleth was so good, I thought.
She's badass in the animated.
Yeah. It was really, like, she was really... I thought she would be the weakest actress of them all because she was never really a voice actress before. Or at least she didn't do much.
Grifter.
Yeah, and
right?
now she was great. She was great in it.
See, I never got into Critical Role until campaign 2. So that whole first campaign, I've watched the animated series and I listened to a one shot or two, but
yeah,
never got through it. Ball of Bear Rings, you say real? It is fake.
It's impossible. The game's impossible.
I'm pretty sure. Where did I find that? Unless I made it up.
Ball of Bear Rings.
Ball of Bear Rings.
I'm disappointed now that there's not a Ball of Bear Rings.
Well, there can be if you homebrew it.
That's
and
true.
You just take this and put it in your game.
Keyleth is
That's the
amazing.
cool thing.
I will agree.
God, that's amazing. I will die on that hill. He says in all caps.
I will die on the hill with you, sir. Or ma'am.
All right. I think I've got one or two more. Ring of Magic Detection. A magical ring that detects the nearest magical item nearby. It will always detect itself. Real or fake?
Fake.
Why do you say
Same thing. It's very similar to the other one. The
The Ring of Attunement?
Yes. Very similar to that. I'm going fake.
Or maybe I found them both and I pinned them against each other to throw you off my scent.
This could be very true.
Miss Doug says real. Ignatius says real. You say fake. It is fake.
Got it.
Got it. You're on to me. You got my scent. For sure, you got my scent. These were ones that as I was driving around today, I listened to a YouTube video so I could listen to it to help me do research while I was driving, and those were two of them. And I was like, that's just too funny. I'm including those.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah. Who was it? Do you know?
No, because it was
Okay. Just
weirdest D&D items.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I found out later they weren't officially. They were just home.
You know who's a really good D&D YouTuber? I think his name's
You?
Mr. No. I'm terrible. I I think his name is Mr. Rex, RHEXX. But all he
Okay.
does is talk about like D&D lore. And it's like 30 minutes of him just talking. It's not his face. It's just him talking about D&D lore. Phenomenal.
That's hard
I
to
think that's
do.
his
And
name.
they're good videos?
Yeah, they're really good. They're like very inside. Like if you don't care anything about the Forgotten Realms, it'll suck because, whatever. But if you like the Forgotten Realms, or if you want inspiration for what you're doing, go listen to it. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Free promotion, not sponsored.
Yeah, look, Brabant said that. Love his videos for doing
love the
research.
Okay, I'll check them out. All right, I think it's our last one. Ring of Bureaucratic Wizardry. When a wizard casts any spell while wearing the ring, a sheaf of papers and a quill pen suddenly appear in his hand. The papers are formed. The papers are forms that must be filled out in triplicate explaining the effects of the spell, why the wizard wishes to cast it, whether it is for business or pleasure, and so on. The forms must be filled out before the effect of the spell will occur. The higher the level of the spell cast, the more complicated the forms become. Filling out the forms requires 1 round per level of spell. If you ever had a dungeon master give you this ring, I believe you will legally allowed to murder him.
Oh man, I'm definitely saying fake because of the last sentence. Because I don't think D&D would put that in anything official. Just knowing D&D.
Reading that back, that was one I was supposed to delete.
That was real.
I think so. Hold on. Now I'm thinking I might have fucked everything up.
No, that could have totally been real. That could have totally been real. Like early days, they would have said something like that. Nowadays, they will not touch anything like that. Like even if it's a joke.
Right. Bureaucratic. Okay. No, this is real.
I love it.
That is real.
I love it.
It's a 5e equipment, it says?
No way.
Ring rare does not require attunement by sorcerer or wizard. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I didn't mess up. That's real. Crazy. What's your score? Miss Sunk had 3 to 5.
I do not remember.
You probably got them all right as far as I'm concerned. I don't remember. Give yourself a big round of applause. Let me know in the comments how you did.
Wait a minute. I have a correction.
Please do.
On the D&D wiki, this says it was an April Fool's item.
Oh, fuck.
So I technically they made it.
This content is not designed for use in regular games and may affect overall balance and gameplay. Take caution when using this material. But it is real.
But it's real. So yep.
It is official D&D, but even
so
though
it's real.
They made it and it's a joke item.
Yeah. It's a real joke item.
Ha! There you go. We'll count that. If you got that wrong or right, you're correct.
Done. I don't remember what my score was.
I think it was like
4 out of 4. 4 for 4. No, 4 for 8. Something like that.
Yeah, I think there was 8 total.
Flip a coin.
I'll flip a Dragon Ball Z coaster. It's
Done.
Tails. I don't know what that is. Well, Matt, thank you so much for coming on and changing my life.
Yeah.
At least in a small way.
And we have the same pencil.
And we have the same pencil. So, that's only one of many things I'm sure that we have in common. Let's get rolling. Thanks for the sub. Oh, 11 months of love and so many more, because come check out Britt from Let's Get Rolling on this Thursday's first episode of Cloudscape. We've been talking about it all night long.
I love it.
Britt and getting great tips from Matt from 20 Sides Podcast and how he did market research. I did not. He's doing all these great things and we're going to change it. This has been so fun. Thank you so much for being willing to just offer this fountain.
I've had a blast. We've got to do it again.
Yeah, because I got more questions.
I have more answers. I can talk all day.
I want to hear all the success you have from your Patreon starting May 15th. Check it out. And then steal those ideas from myself as well.
Done.
Perfect. And thank you guys for tuning in from the 20 Sides community. 20 Sides Jess, we had Philip running the account. Miss Stunk is a big fan. And anybody that's not a fan yet, please go use the command 20 sides. Go give them some love on Instagram. Use that link tree. You can even go to 20sides.com, right? I found your website on accident.
Yeah.
And it's got all the information.
But it'll take you where you need to go.
It gets the job done. And it's got information about the Patreon.
True.
Only $5 or $10. I mean, that's affordable. You can afford it. Don't buy that one coffee a month and you can afford it.
Exactly. Jess.
But we'll be doing this again next Monday with... Oh, shit. I should look this up before I'm live, huh? With Hunter Chick Cosplay. She's a cosplayer that we've known for quite a long time in our IG community. She's streaming now. She's been doing some great things. So come back next week. And then T is streaming again on Wednesday, doing some art, maybe with Bird Suck. Maybe he's playing some community games that you can join. Sometimes he does a Smash tournament that you can hop in on. And then Thursday is the first episode of Cloudscape, my very own homebrew, my very first homebrew that I'm GMing using Fate Core System. So please check out that. Come back on Thursday. We'll be doing it live here, or airing it live. It's pre-recorded, but we'll be in the chat, and then you can check it out on YouTube and podcast. And then you can check this out on YouTube and podcast. This episode tonight with 20 Sides Podcast. If you caught the tail end of it, believe me. Sorry, Matt, I'm making you go away for a hot sec. Believe me. If you missed any of this, you want to go back and listen to the rest, because the gold that was dropping out of his mouth was not only pertinent to the podcasters of the D&D nature, even though if you are a D&D podcaster, please go back. This is some really great information for you. But also as a content creator in general, did some real good stuff that I took to heart, and I'm going to ponder the rest of the evening.
Here you go.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I had a phenomenal time.
I did too. Y'all, give us a place where we can take this energy. We got to raid someone. Who we raiding? Episodes would be available on podcast platforms as well. Yes, Miss Stunk, are you talking about yours? Your new one? The new upcoming game gives me Bioshock Infinite vibes. Oh yeah, you're talking about ours. Cool. Takes place in a towering city high above the clouds. A little bit.
Give us a little bit of info about the game.
Oh, it's takes place in a distant future when a cataclysmic event has happened on Earth, and humanity had to escape to towers because now the planet is uninhabitable by most of nature. And so a small population has moved forth, and through this cataclysmic event has provided a gift from the gods that is a versatile tool that can power cities and power weapons, and even giving people some supernatural abilities. Of course, it's highly regulated, and the government may be corrupt. We'll find out on Cloudscape.
I love it. I'll be there.
Okay. We'll see you there, and see you there. We're going to raid... Oh, I can't see it. Hold on. Let's raid Hot Pink Yorkie. Why not? Hot Pink Yorkie. Sorry, this is clumsy. That's why I need moderators.
Hot Pink Yorkie.
Yorkie. Can't think and talk at the same time. Great. There we go. But as always, y'all, I am Bozer.
I am Matt.
And you just keep geeking out.
Geeking out.
Bye. Peace.